one of the greatest gifts God ever gave to me was to lock me up, because I would have
Gotcha.
been dead. Because I was in the midst of addiction. I had cancer. I did 11 months on an 18-month sentence. I say it all the time to people. You can pick your sins, but you cannot pick your consequences. And the reality of them, they will come at some point. And I had a lot of consequences. And I'm grateful for that, because it made me grow up and made me become a better person.
I appreciate you being here.
Hey,
man.
thank you, man. No, you
I
always been
appreciate you
good to
coming.
me.
I think your story resonates with people, because I know you had been through it. Suspended, arrested, all this, where you just said to yourself, I can't do this bullshit no more, man. I got to make a change in my life.
Well, it was truly in my baseball career. Not here in New York, but in LA. When
In LA.
I went back there and I signed there, and I had that first season there. It didn't happen then. And I ran into the wall and dislocated my shoulder, and I had
Yeah, I
never really
remember.
been hurt that much. And I was really frustrated because I was a free agent. It was my opportunity to be in a new place and start all over.
Yeah.
And from there, I started having injuries. I think the next year came along, and I had a back injury. I came around the base in Philly on a cold, wet night and scored a run and got in the dugout, and I could not get up. I couldn't stand straight back up. I'm thinking to myself, what the heck is going on here? But I started to realize that the mileage of playing baseball and all the amphetamines that I had taken over the years,
Yeah.
and all the drinking, started to catch up with me. And then I turned the corner there in LA, and that's when I got into the drugs heavy. That's when the drugs really kicked in. I'm talking about cocaine.
Were you a casual user before that? Would you use from time to time? I know the 80s with the Mets, the
Everybody say everybody was using
yeah, that's the stigma about that team, that it was
And
the
that's
wild boys on
That's
that
not
team.
true. I mean, I was completely alcoholic by the time I was 24.
Got it.
I was already drinking like a fish. I was already womanized.
Was that something you were raised around? Was there alcoholism in your childhood?
Well, my father was alcoholic.
Right.
So he
Let's not. We'll get to that. We'll get to the childhood. But so you're in LA and you get hurt, and this is something new for you. You had
It's totally new.
Yeah.
It's totally new, because I was like a really stud. That's the way I looked at myself when I ran across the field. I could do anything, and I could do it at any time playing. And when you start to have these injuries, all of a sudden you start to take a different twist, because it's hard to recover. Like I said, after all you've done and all you accomplished, and how it piles up on you.
Yeah.
And
The
now,
body ain't reacting like it used to.
well, it's not responding
Yeah.
as quickly as I wanted to respond, because my body used to respond quickly when I had an injury, when I tore my thumb, but this time it wasn't. And so I started drifting off. And going to LA was home for me.
Yeah.
So guess what?
All the childhood friends are there. All the families there.
Not
Who's
even
there?
that. I know all the back roads. I'm a street kid. I'm from South Central.
Crenshaw.
So when you know the back roads of life, you know how to maneuver around, and you know places where you shouldn't go, but you go anyway. If you're gonna play somewhere like home, you need to take the front road. And I wasn't taking the front road, I was taking the back road. So that was dangerous.
You start using there. How many years into the LA? How many years are you in LA at that point? You get traded in. You get traded to LA. What
No, I
year?
was a free agent.
Oh, you were free. Right. You get the Mets decide we're good.
The Mets didn't even offer me a contract.
They didn't even offer you a contract.
You know what they told me in my last year? Show us you can play. And I hit 37, drove in 108. And they didn't offer me a contract.
Yeah, show us you can play. Which really what they're telling you is thank you, but no thank you.
Well, at that time, I guess they wanted to go in a different direction.
Yeah.
So I kind of was feeling that, because when I saw all the players that I came up with and they started trading, when you start trading guys like Lenny Dykstra, Roger McDowell, that was telling me that they were
see
going
what's coming
in a totally different direction. And nothing personal against the guys that were still there that I was playing with, but they didn't have that it. You got to have that it factor playing in New York. So I played with all these guys that had that, and all of a sudden you had guys who come in there and if we win. What do you mean if we win?
Yeah.
I didn't like that. So they said, well, show us that you still have it in you. So I says, okay, you didn't offer me a contract. It's my last year. I'm going out with a bang. and I went out with a bang, and there it was. Free agency came, and there was a door open for me to have that
How many
opportunity.
offers did you get? Do you remember?
I got several offers,
Yeah.
but I
You
knew
wanted
LA.
to go home, you think?
I knew LA was on the table. Yes, I wanted to go home.
Yeah.
I knew that was there. I mean, I could have went to Seattle. They were after me so hard, and they were telling me, well, we have these young guys, A-Rod and Griffey, and they were telling me what kind of ball club that they plan on having. They were moving in that direction. I was like, well, Seattle's AstroTurf. Do I really want to play on AstroTurf?
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do that at the time.
Yeah. So you start using. Do you get popped? Do you get suspended in LA?
No, I didn't get suspended. It's I got lost in addiction.
Got it.
Okay, and when you start to get lost in addiction, you start missing things. And that was really the first time I missed the Subway Series against the Angels. I played that night, hit a bomb that night, and the next day I was nowhere to be found.
Got it.
It was a Sunday just before the season was about to open for the 90, I believe the 94 season, something like that. And so that's when it came to head, that I was struggling with drugs and that I needed to get help. And I went to Betty Ford.
You went to treatment
That was the first treatment center I ever experienced with Betty
in your
Ford.
life.
In my life.
Yeah.
Betty Ford in Palm Springs.
And
it was well known for, so many celebrities.
did you feel like it
people were
worked for you?
No.
It
I
didn't
mean, I just wasn't ready.
You were counting the days till were done.
I wasn't really counting the days. I learned a lot, but I didn't learn enough.
Yeah.
I think that happens to a lot of people when they first go to treatment.
How old are you at the time? Around?
Close to 30,
Your late
somewhere up in
20s.
there.
Yeah.
Most people, most celebrities that end up in places like that for the first time usually don't work. Some may get it. It's a miracle if you do get it.
Right.
Because of the lifestyle. Okay, and why do I say that? Well, because we have everything from a material standpoint, but most of us are emotionally broken, emotionally disturbed. We need complete help. We need a therapist. We need anxiety pills and everything else.
Yeah, but guys in your position have been catered to for so many years. You get treatment that most people will never receive in their entire life.
Well, of course.
Yeah, people are taking care of you. People are sweeping stuff under the rug.
But it's wrong.
No, it's definitely wrong. But you guys start to feel invincible.
I don't think it's that. I think it's the people that's around you never tell you have a serious problem and you need some serious help. I think it's people more of a working for you that's on the payroll.
They're afraid you're going to go away.
They want to keep it quiet.
Yeah, they want to keep this train rolling along as smooth as possible. I had Doc in here, and he had told me a few stories that I was not aware of. He said when he got sent to prison, you were there. You guys were away together?
He came after me.
Yeah, he said when he got there, you were there, right? Or you were gone?
I was gone.
Oh, all right. You went to the same prison.
Yeah.
And I said, you two did everything. I mean, this is...
Well, they make it out like we did everything together.
Yeah.
But he was behind me, and his problems were like more in Tampa because he grew up there, and they didn't like him because of the fact of who he was. Young, successful, and there was always police officers on his tail about different things because of the celebrity status that he achieved in New York. I was living in Tampa. I moved to Tampa, and I was the head of Doc, and I got into the same troubles. I mean, the South was like really hard on black players. Let's put it like that. Black athletes. They were really difficult on them, and it had to do with a lot of racial tension because athletes were like driving nice cars and living a different life, and they're thinking, well, we work hard, and they were different down there compared to where I came from California. The cops wasn't like that towards us.
Well, you played when the Mets, you get drafted by the Mets, 83. When do you get drafted?
1980.
80. You come up 83.
Come up 83.
You come up 83. So from 80 to 83, you're playing in the South, though, aren't you? You in the minor leagues?
Playing in the minor leagues, like places like Kingsport, Tennessee, which was great when my rookie year.
Right.
With a lot of hype coming out of high school, #1 pick. And then I went to Lynchburg, Virginia. So that was a really difficult place to play.
Right.
I almost quit playing baseball because of all the racial things that were
In
saying
Lynchburg.
that was being said in the stands in
Yeah.
Lynchburg. People were calling me boy and telling me you're not that good up in the crowd. And my manager was really cool. He was white. His name was Gene Dusan. I'll never forget him. He was like a father figure to me. He helped me get through that particular situation. Every time I used to run back to the dugout and they were calling me out of my name, he was just like, "Do not look up there."
Don't.
He was just telling me, "Do not look up
Yeah.
there." And I guess he figured I might have took my Louisville slugger and ran up there and started eliminating
Or just
people.
run up there. I mean, at that point, you were a machine. In your, what are you, 20? How are you? You were 21 at the time?
19.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to kill somebody at
Yeah,
19 up
and
there.
it would have been clearly over.
Yeah.
Or doing something
He
like
did
that.
you a favor.
He was a great man.
Yeah, so the racial tension down there had to be as compared to
Unbelievable.
South Central.
It was, well,
Culture shock.
you never heard the kind of things like that said in South Central, because when you grew up in a place like South Central, it's ghetto. It's all
Yeah.
black. So it's black on black crime. And I never got into the black on black crime atmosphere.
Do you think being the athlete you were saved you from, it kept you occupied? What kept you away from any of the bullshit activity?
I saw all of it, and I was like a small part of it from the beginning in junior high school. And then I realized that people started to shoot and started to kill each other. And I realized I didn't want to be a part of that. That was deadly. And I've seen so many young guys that I grew up with run in that direction. And it became some serious street violence. And it wasn't fighting anymore, because we used to fight. But then it made a turn.
Yeah, when the crack epidemic and when the drugs got involved.
When the drugs got involved, but also when we had a homecoming game, and this is where it really all started, between the Crips and the Bloods. I was in Crenshaw High, and I was waiting for the homecoming game because I was playing on the basketball team, so we had a day off, and we were about to have homecoming. So one of the guys from the Crips, his name was Greg, and I knew him from the hood. He started walking around with a blue rag, and the Bloods were sitting on the wall, and he started waving the blue rag on them, and
yeah, it's gonna be a problem,
and just kind of aggravating them. Then all of a sudden, it just broke out, and the fight broke out, and it was real. And I'm standing there watching. Me and my buddy play on the basketball team. We're standing there watching. So one of the guys grabbed Greg and holds him like this. Another guy from the Bloods run up and hit him with a hammer right in his heart. Now, all of a sudden, Greg starts to like lose it. And now all of a sudden, blood is starting to come out of him. And he starts to stumble, and he hits the ground. And guess who runs over there to help him? Was my high school baseball coach. He was the first one. He was a white coach. His name was Brooks Hurst. He's running over there trying to save Greg. Greg dies there, right on the ground. And from that day of that year of 1980, that was my last year in high school, the Bloods and the Crips went into just the time zone like you could never believe. And what I mean by time zone is they started killing each other like crazy. And I used to come home from practice because I was an athlete. And I came home from practice one night, crossed Slauson Avenue, and headed to my house on 7th Avenue. And the car was full of guys, and all of a sudden they pull up, and they start looking at me, and I walk across the street, and they hit they hit a corner and turn as I was walking. So I jump into a neighbor's house and pretend like I live there. And I realized that the streets are deadly now. Because you used to be able to walk the streets and you didn't have that problem. But now you cannot walk the streets because they think you're part of the 60s. Because I lived on 60th and 7th Avenue. So they figured you were part of the gang. And they start killing everybody at night that was out. And it was just one of those moments where I realized your life could have easily been gone that night. And everybody only think about, the success and, me having played baseball. These guys didn't know I played baseball for Crenshaw High. They didn't know I played basketball for Crenshaw High. They just knew the fact that I lived in the 60s and I was walking those streets at night, and they figured there's one, let's kill let's kill him. And a lot of guys got killed that way in our neighborhood. And I was very fortunate to be able to escape all of that. And I think a lot of times people don't realize how serious it really is in
Hmm.
those neighborhoods when you grow up and you see all that stuff. And those activities are daily. And they're probably at a higher level now than they ever been before, between the Bloods and the Crips, and it blows me away because it's just a color. It's just a blue rag and a
Hmm.
red rag, and
Yeah.
they're fighting over territory and turf that they don't even own.
If you think about it, Darryl, the blue and the red is the whole country, man, and they're fighting, and they're just gonna keep. If we're all the same, man, but you wear the blue hat, I wear the red. Don't wear the red hat
In the wrong
around the
neighborhood.
blue people,
Yeah,
even politically. It's basically no. You may get killed if you're in the wrong part of the country. But I wanted to ask you, at that point in your life, I had heard you speak about your dad was not your dad had left at a certain point. How old are you when your dad
my dad
left?
was gone he was about when I was about 14 years old.
14. So my dad left. I'm an only child. It was me and my mom. My dad left when I was 5. And the crazy part about my dad leaving, I never saw him again, not one day ever. He never appeared. He never
Wow.
appeared again in my life. He lived my whole life. Lived in Florida. I never saw him again. He didn't pop in for my birthday, and I carried resentment my entire life. Like, this guy left me when I was a little kid, never came back. But as an adult, I was grateful that he left one time and never came back and brought his bullshit. He was a drug addict, and he could have ruined my whole life. He could have came, left, came. He left one time, and I appreciated it. Your dad left on it. He decided to leave.
My mom.
Your mom told him it's time to go.
Well, it was because of one night in the house.
Yeah, I remember you. I remember hearing you tell the story. You and your brother came
Well,
to
he pulled out a
blows.
shotgun, said he was gonna kill the whole family drunk again.
He pulled a shotgun,
Yeah.
and at this
Me
point,
and my brothers went into action.
yeah, I got to think at that point you're a grown man.
14.
Yeah, you're a big kid at that
Well,
point.
14, 15,
Yeah.
16. That's the days of me and my brothers.
How do you get the gun away from him?
Well, my mother didn't allow him to pick the gun up.
Got it.
He laid it on the couch, and we didn't know. Later, she told us she had took the shells out, so it was empty shotgun. But we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
So we went into action. My brother Ronnie had grabbed a butcher knife. I grabbed a frying pan, and he was chasing my brother Michael around the table,
Beat his ass.
saying, "What did you say?" And you going, "I'll kill all you." And we were thinking, nobody's gonna die in here tonight,
Yeah,
but you.
except you.
Yeah, you're gonna
Yeah.
be dying. But the thing about it was my mother was so sweet and she was so little. She made us get out of that house
Yeah.
and go down to the neighbor's house because we wasn't leaving the house, but she made us get out of the
Hmm.
house. Had we not gotten out of the house, we probably would have killed him.
Well, your whole life is totally
It's
different,
it's
man.
done.
Yeah, your whole life is totally
Yeah,
different. Yeah.
brokenness is real, and people don't realize that. And people don't realize that
How
what
was
people did
had you
have
had
that.
any sort of relationship with your father for the 14 years raising you? Was he
No,
nothing?
no, he was just there.
Yeah.
He's a man.
He's
He
around.
worked. Had a terrible attitude about
Yeah.
everything.
Besides your mom, was there anybody else involved in raising you? Was there a grandmother?
It was our grandmother,
Yeah.
my mother's mother. She was a big part of raising us, and she lived in Pasadena. My grandmother was sweet as ever. She loved my mother so much.
Where
Uh,
was your mother from originally?
my mother was from California. My father was from Mississippi.
Got it. And they met
They met in California.
California. Yeah. So after that point, you're 14 now. Now your mom is single mom, raising how many? You got four?
Five.
There's 5 kids.
5 kids.
Your mom's raising 5 kids alone. Do you feel you look back now, was there a sense where you could finally exhale with that energy being taken out of the house? Could you finally it was you
I wouldn't say that.
no?
I knew we were free,
Yeah.
but I knew one thing. Nobody was going to ever control me again
Yeah.
because he dominated. He controlled us. And when you feel that and you have those wounds inside of you,
Mm-hmm.
you do not want to ever experience
Yeah,
that
feel it
again.
again.
and that's really truly what it was for me. It's not to ever feel that way. So,
Did he once you started to become Darryl Strawberry well known? Did he reappear? Did he try and get back in
we
your life?
tried when I was in high school.
Yeah,
Um, he kept calling my brother Ronnie because he kept reading the
yeah.
paper,
He knew
and,
something was coming.
and they was always talking about me in my junior year because I was playing basketball, baseball, and we went to the city championship at Dodger Stadium. So he showed up in my junior year to see because a lot of his friends knew about our school, and a lot of his friends were like referees, and they knew I played basketball. And they used to tell him, it's like, Hank, your boy's really good over there at Crenshaw. And he's just a junior. So my senior year comes, so now all of a sudden he really appears and starts to show up on top of the hill um, in right field and watching and seeing me play because he was calling my brother Ronnie and he was asking them, they're writing all these things about your brother. Is he really that good? My brother Ronnie said, well, why don't you come see for yourself? But yeah, he's pretty good. Um, though, so he started coming, and all of a sudden he finally made his way down because all the scouts were there, and he started to realize I might be onto something here. This is my son, but I don't even know him, and he doesn't even know me.
Right.
Um, we have a conversation. It was just a conversation. It wasn't anything about family, anything about my direction and what I wanted to be. And see, my drive was out of my pain, the beatings, the rejection. So that gave me the ability to focus in and wanting to become something because he said I would never be anything. And that led me to greatness.
Yeah, I'll show this. I'll show him.
Yeah, well, most
Yeah,
of us do.
yeah.
At some point,
We're
we.
proving something to somebody. We're pro- we're proving something to somebody constantly. Um, was how close was the decision for basketball, baseball? Did you love one more? Did you feel like you were better at baseball, or what was the deciding factor?
I was really good at basketball, and I think a lot of scouts used to come to my um, basketball game, baseball scouts, and college coaches. And a lot of college coaches asked my high school coach, "What about the Strawberry kid?" He said, "Don't even think about it. He's going in the first round of baseball." They go, "Really?" They go, "Yeah, he's that good in baseball." So don't even think about even recruiting him for college. And so I was recruited by Oklahoma State to go there, for basketball and baseball. If I was going to go
Right.
there, I wanted to play. Um, but the draft was coming up, and it was a big talk about who's going to be the number one pick that year in 1980.
Yeah, that's you.
Was it going to be me? Was it going to be Billy Bean? Was it going to be John Gibbons? It was a choice because the Mets had 3 picks in that first round. So they were thinking, well, if they could have picked Billy first, would I been
Will you still
third?
be there?
Yeah, I was. I would. Most scouts
You
said
would be gone.
he'd be gone. And number 2 pick was by Toronto Blue Jays. So they said he would probably be gone, and they just had to make a decision, And the scouts that were always coming to see me. His name was Roger. He always believed that I was a guy before the Mets. I was a guy. He believed that I was a guy that was going to come along and really changed that franchise from where they were. I mean, they had guys like Mookie and Hubie when I was there, and they were great guys. And they had George Foster. He
Hmm.
came and they thought he would come and light up New York, and
Didn't work out
it
for
didn't work
George.
out for him. And so they thought this kid is just a few years away from the big leagues. And when I finally got to that place and got there in '83, I didn't start off well. I had a really rough time.
They picked you with the first pick, though.
They picked me
You
with
were
the
the
first
number one
pick.
pick. And then, let me ask, because people now think you're the first pick in the major league draft. It's life changing money. What do you get a signing? What happens when you're the first pick back then?
You get 200,000.
200,000, and that's I mean,
Life
that's
changing.
life changing money
South Central.
for a kid from South Central.
Yeah, that's definitely life changing.
200,000. I was just curious
Yeah, they get
what
12
the
million now.
yeah. First a kid gets 12 million, a high school kid
Yeah, right.
gets 12 million. I was curious what it was back then. 200,000. You go to minor leagues. Your mom stays in California. Your mom stays in California. You're by yourself. You go down south. You come alone. None of your nobody comes with you.
Nobody comes with
You're
me.
alone. You got an apartment down there. Are you living with a teammate? Like, what is it looking like for you when you first come to the Mets in
Well,
'80?
you're pretty much living with a teammate.
Yeah.
Guys coming from everywhere. So nobody knows nobody.
Anybody that becomes some well known down there with you at that point, or are you the only
Not
one?
really, not through
Nobody.
that early process.
Yeah.
The only people that really came along that was important to me was like Chuck Hiller, my first year in Kingsport, Tennessee. He had one press conference and told the press, leave him alone. And he used to call me Turkey Neck. Just go out there and play. So he made it real easy
Yeah.
and light. And I loved him for that. And then I came to Lynchburg the next year, and Gene Dusan was my manager. And he was like a father figure with me. He had his own little family and wife, and he just brought me in as a son. And then one teammate became like a big brother to me, and his name was Lloyd McClendon. You know, he ended up being a manager in the big leagues for the Pirates. He was like a big brother to me.
You mentioned that you wanted to quit. You wanted to go home.
After that year.
Did you get close? Did you really?
I got very close
You
to
got
quitting.
close?
I told the organization I think I made a bad decision.
A mistake. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I should.
What turned the switch where you said, you know what, I think I belong here? Like what?
Well, they asked me to give it one more year.
Got it.
I went to Jackson, Mississippi, the Texas League. Gene Dusan was my manager again, so I was pretty comfortable with that, knowing that
he started to really perform then.
Yeah, I went off that year. I was like co-MVP in the Texas League. I think I hit like 34 home runs, stole 45 bases, and they were like, nobody ever hit the ball like that in Double-A in Jackson. The ballpark was so big, they said nobody hits a lot of home runs here.
Yeah.
And I was hitting balls in the trees.
And then, so now the Mets are terrible at that point, correct?
The Mets are terrible.
They're terrible. So they're thinking, we got to get this kid up here, man.
Well, not just yet, because they had guys like Ellis Valentine, they had guys like Danny Heap, guys like that. They were in front of me and stuff like that. And I came to spring training in 1983. George Bamberger was the manager, and he put me in a lot of A games, and I was hitting bombs in spring training games. And George wanted to take me, and Frank was like, "No, he's too young," because Frank had saw that before with a guy by the name of Tim Leary, who was going to be an outstanding pitcher, and he hurt his arm.
Yeah.
So I think he was being very cautious about the fact that I don't want to bring young players up to New York and put this kind of pressure on them. So I started the first month off that year, 1983, in AAA. Davey Johnson's my manager. He's in the organization. So I play for him, and Davey was just a player's manager. You know, he just let you play. He don't question anything about, just be here, play hard, and be on time. That was the good thing about Davey, and I believe that was because of the fact that Davey was a player, and he was a good player. So he had success at the major league level. So he had a great understanding about the way of treating players and just letting them develop. And I stayed the first month there in AAA, and I come to the ballpark one night, and I'm not in the lineup. I'm in the lineup every night. I said, well, I'm like in 3:30. It's AAA. You know, I'm finna kill this, I think, to myself. And I go, Davey, what's up? Why I'm not in the lineup? He goes, I just want to give you a night off. And I goes, I don't want a night off. I want to play. I'm young. I'm 20 years old. You know, I want to be out there. And he goes, come into my office. And I go into his office and sit there, and he says, I'm giving you the night off because you're going to the big leagues tomorrow. And I goes, oh. And he goes, don't do that. He goes, you are ready. Because I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you didn't know.
I wasn't sure if I was ready or not. And he's just, I took that night off and went to the big leagues the next day. And there I was in the capital, New York City, the media.
You ever been to New York before that?
I've been here, but I've never been in a uniform where I'm actually about to experience playing baseball, what I've always done.
So you come up, how many days go by before you're on the field playing?
One day I play that day. I come up.
You came the first day you played. Do you remember who'd you play the first game?
Cincinnati Reds.
All right, so Cincinnati Reds in
Mario Soto.
This is Concepcion Rose, like who? This is the Reds.
This wasn't Johnny Bench, but it was like
Pete Rose.
1983.
Yeah, is Pete Rose still on the Reds? At that point?
Maybe Pete could have been there.
Yeah.
Or Tony might have been there. I'm not for sure. Concepcion's there.
You're seeing faces. You got to be like, I can't believe.
I'm seeing faces that I watched a lot on television.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, this is real. This is unreal.
You were a Dodgers fan, though, I'm going to assume.
Well, I grew up.
I
grew up.
You grew up a Dodgers fan.
Yeah, when I knew the Dodgers, when you had Garvey, Lopes,
Ron Say,
Billy Russell,
these guys,
Dusty Baker, Reggie Smith.
I mean,
Daryl Thomas.
Make believe.
Just the Dodgers.
The whole line.
Yeager, they were always winning. They were always in the spotlight because it was L.A.
Yeah, against the Yankees.
Yes, against the Yankees.
Always against the Yankees.
Always against the Yankees. But I was more of a Cincinnati Reds fans too, because when I saw the Reds growing up, I saw Johnny Bench, Joe Morgan, Tony Perez.
Where would you get to see Reds games? On TV?
Yeah, they were those Game of the Weeks.
Oh, baseball Game of the Week.
So what I used to see was the Game of the Week, how the commentators were always talking about this one player. They wasn't talking about all these great players. They were talking about this greater player. And they were talking about Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle, and they were calling. And when I saw him and I saw him play, I goes, oh my God. I said, that's what a baseball player looks like.
Yeah, flying through, covered in dirt, flying through the air.
Uniform dirty, just playing. I mean, he didn't walk to first base. He sprinted to first base.
Yeah.
And it was different. And that's how I got serious about wanting to play baseball, because Pete Rose had became my favorite player. And then I saw Dave Parker play. And I goes, oh my God, he's like me. He's 6'5", he can run, he can throw, he can hit.
The shit out of the
Yeah.
ball.
I said, this is what I want to do when you see guys like that. And that's what really intrigued me about playing at the major league level.
Right, and then minutes later, you're playing against these guys.
Now I'm on the same field with these guys.
Yeah, you're playing against these guys. And now do you get sent to the All-Star game your first year?
Second year.
So second year, you line up in the All-Star game.
1984.
And that's a who's who.
Yeah, that's
that National League is stacked.
Mike Smith.
Yeah, forget
Ozzie
about
Smith.
Yeah, that's got to be that in your mind. Are you feeling like to yourself, I belong here, or are you having a little imposter? Are you thinking, how the hell did I end up? Or you believe in it?
Well, I didn't believe in it when I first got there because I struggled. I was struggling to get my first hit. And
putting too much pressure on yourself, or?
Well, I didn't know if I was quite ready. But I was supposed to be at the ballpark early at 1 o'clock, and Jim Fry was my hitting coach. And I wasn't there early to be there working with him. And I came in around 3 o'clock, and he got in my face and he said, kid, it was like this big. And he got in my face and said, kid, if you ever want to be great at this level of playing baseball, you need to be at this ballpark early every day. And he said, I'm never going to wait for you again. And from that day forward, I realized I needed to be at the ballpark early every day. So I showed up every day, throughout the rest of my career. Because he wasn't trying to teach me about the talent I had. He was trying to teach me about the importance of knowing this atmosphere and developing the mentality to dominate. That's what Jim Fry taught me in my rookie season. And I would go on to dominate and win Rookie of the Year because of him. Had it not been for him, I don't know if I'd have been the player that I turned out to be. But he put something inside of me. And I think a lot of guys don't realize the importance of coaches when they're there for you like that and when they're trying to give you that. Because everybody has talent. But do you have the mentality? Do you understand what kind of player you can be? And I think Jim Fry was teaching me, it's not about what you're good at. It's about coming here, being at the ballpark, working on what you're not good at, on your weakness. And that delivered me into a place where I went to the ballpark and I started working on everything, and I started crafting my game, and I started putting the package together, and I ended up putting it together that rookie season. And fans couldn't believe it. Media couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I was one of them. I couldn't believe it.
And it was
think about that one man, the impact that guy had on you. How many years later, you're still talking about one conversation he had with you one day, how it impacted your life. You're still this many years later talking about it. How
because you don't
important?
forget it.
No, never. How important one person, they may not even remember the conversation. Having it with you, you don't even know.
He remembered because he was. I heard that he had got sick and he
Yeah.
was close to dying, and somebody ran into me. I was somewhere doing ministry, and they said Jim's not doing well. I said, could you give me his number? And he gave me his number, and I called him, and I said, Jim, and he said, hey kid. I was like, how did you know it was me? And he said, I just know your
Mm.
voice. And I said, Jim, I just need to tell you, thank you. Thank you for helping me realize what kind of player I could be and what kind of success that I was capable of having
Yeah.
at the major league level.
Guys who grow up with no real father figure, when dudes show up and fill a space that we never had, it's priceless, man. We
It,
can't.
it's all coaches
Yeah.
for me
Yeah, for in
because
your life.
because I was playing sports
Yeah.
all the time. So it was all these different coaches in my life. Each one of them gave me something.
Yeah, they filled the void that was there.
Yeah, filled the empty void.
Yeah.
Jim Fry, Gene Dusan, Davey
Davey.
Johnson, Bill Robinson,
Who was the
Bobby Valentine, Buddy Harrelson, all those coaches.
where was Bobby at that point? Was he a coach?
Bobby was the third base coach when I came up in '83.
He was a Met third base coach.
Yes.
Got it. In '83.
So that was my first high five. He's the one who gave me the high five going by after hitting home runs.
Got it. That's kind of cool. I didn't know Bobby was there. But at what point do you feel this team starts to develop a little bit of a swagger, starts to turn it a little bit? I know the winning didn't come for a little bit, but where did you feel this team, we got a little something going on?
Well, I think the trade with Hernandez,
Right.
I didn't know who he was, and everybody else knew who he was because we had a veteran team, guys like Dave Kingman, Mike Torres, Seaver, Swanee.
Yeah. Was Rusty
Hodges,
still Rusty?
Rusty.
Rusty was still there.
All these guys knew who he was. They knew he was a Cardinal great, and they knew he was great. I had no idea who he was. So he came over in this trade, and at the time, it was just like, to me, he looks like he was just completely miserable inside. Because I didn't realize that he came from the Cardinals, and I didn't know the Cardinal history.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know that he was an MVP.
A proud Cardinal.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I started to perform, and he started to look. He started to look at me like, because what's this kid? He's 21 years old. He's hitting balls off the scoreboard already like it's nothing.
Yeah.
And I think that really intrigued him because his father had watched the Mets farm system. I guess Keith wanted out there. Frank Cashman told him, "Hey, I'll trade you after the end of the season and let you go if you don't want to be here." And Keith always said that his father told him, "Do not leave there.
Stick around."
Yeah, he said they have the best farm system. They have some young pitchers coming up, and they have some young players coming up that's really, really good. And he ended up signing an extension and made a decision to actually stay. Plus, he was close to Rusty, and Rusty Staub probably told him a lot of things are going to probably change. A lot of us guys are going to be out of here, and it's going to be a new crop of young players, and try to get a couple more veteran players. And when we got him, and we finished that season, and then the next off season, we would get Gary Carter. Now, that's when I learned.
That's the off season between '84 and '85.
Right.
Right.
That's when I started to learn right there. When we got Gary Carter, I thought to myself I didn't know who Carter was, but I played against him and saw what kind of catcher he was. He was one of the best in the business. And I think a lot of people didn't give him the kind of credit he deserved. When you're a catcher, it's hard to do
You
what you do.
surprised? You surprised his numbers not retired
I'm very
at Citi
surprised.
Field?
I am totally shocked. I
I ran into his wife the day they retired your number. I think his wife was there. I'm not
Yes.
sure. It was either the day they retired yours or the day they retired Doc's number. And I ran into his wife, and I told her, I said, I hope soon we're here and you're standing, because I thought to myself years ago he's going to be one of the first.
Well, how do you not retire a guy that's in the Hall of Fame just because he went in with Montreal? That's where he came from.
Okay.
Major League Baseball made him pick that.
Yeah, the
But
players weren't picking at that point.
Right. So he came over to New York, and without Gary Carter, we don't become a winner.
No.
I don't care what anybody say. I don't care what we had on that team.
Yeah.
But without him, we do not become who we were, with the identity of a great catcher who could handle a pitching staff that makes a difference in a ball club. And I think that's really underestimated of what everybody that didn't see him play and talk about, well, he didn't play long enough. He didn't. That's not the point. It's what you mean to a ball club. You can have all the great players you want. There's a lot of great players that play the game, but they never got in that winning circle.
Mm-hmm.
And our goal was to get into that winning circle, and Gary Carter was that last piece for us to be able to get into that winning circle.
Yeah. Well, if I'm born and raised a Met fan, if you ask me to list the top 10 greatest Mets, you don't make a list without Gary Carter.
You do not.
Never. There's no list that exists that Gary Carter's not on.
Numbers are a fantasy to people.
Yeah.
Because we live in a numbers time now, but we don't live in the
impact he had on the Mets.
We don't
watch him every day.
People don't live in the impact. They don't understand the importance of impact. Championship teams are from players that have impact.
We just watched it with the Knicks, man.
That's it.
We just watched OG Anunoby will go down. There'll be a statue outside. No matter how many more years he plays for the Knicks, there will be the greatest play
of.
If they don't retire OG's number in the Garden,
that would be the great. That's going to be go down as one of the greatest plays of the Knicks history
in New York sports history.
New York sports history,
and without a doubt. So 85 comes. You come up short in 85.
Great year.
I mean, you guys were incredible, but
we won 98 games.
You lost to the Cardinals. Who 85? Cardinals?
I missed 8 weeks.
You missed 8 weeks.
And we still won 98 games.
Yeah. You lost to St. Louis
St. Louis, the Cardinals.
St. Louis that year. How did Keith have to feel going against the Cardinals that year? But lost to Cardinals. I'm trying to remember. 7 games.
They beat us.
It was a 7-game series?
What?
The Cardinal series. How long?
The last series. We lost it in the last series of the year. We had to go in there and sweep them. We won
you didn't.
We won the first game.
Yes. Got it. I'm trying to remember.
We won the first game there. I hit a hanging breaking ball. We won it 1-0 off the clock against Ken Daly. Darling pitched an outstanding ball game. And we had to sweep them, and we didn't sweep them.
You had to sweep the Cardinals that year. Yeah. Right. That's what I remember.
And we didn't sweep them. But I remember our clubhouse after that 3-game set.
You knew what you were building.
We knew he was on our way because Davey was analytics before analytics even came out. And why do I say that? Because he knew how to put players in a position to be successful.
Was it here or he was keeping?
No, it was here.
It was all in his head.
Yeah, it wasn't about a computer.
Yeah,
it wasn't about going back.
He wasn't keeping records.
It wasn't about going back and checking the iPad and looking at, well, this guy got me out here this time. It's like he taught players how to understand the game by sitting there and watching the game and preparing yourself during the game. Guys on the bench had to prepare themselves to be ready.
Mm-hmm.
Guys like me, I was taught the game by Hernandez. I started learning how to win the game from the on-deck circle before I ever got in the batter's box. I didn't have to go look at a computer of what a guy got me out because I knew next time I got up there, if he thinks he's going to get me out on that same pitch, it's never going to happen. And that's the kind of way we played the game. We were like old school with that. I think when you get a baseball player, like these guys are playing today, they're baseball players just like we are. They played fundamentally baseball growing up. Why do you change that?
Yeah.
Why does it become everything else?
I find it so odd that in between every batter, the outfielder's looking in his hat because he's got it written down where he needs to stand
I already know where to play
for
guys.
for the hitter. He's looking, and then he
Yeah.
takes 4 steps, 3 steps forward.
But you should already know. You should already know
Yeah,
that
you should know
about
who's
the
playing,
player,
who's in the lineup,
who's
who
in
you
the
playing.
lineup. You go over every team the first time they come in, okay,
Mhm.
and you go over every player where he likes to hit the baseball. Now you should be able to have that computer down inside of you once you get out there and you're playing against the Phillies, and you know where Von Hayes is going to hit the ball on certain pitches. He's going to try to hit the ball and drive the ball the other way. You know these things.
How'd you do in that St. Louis series?
Against the Cardinals?
Yeah, that last series. How did you do in it? Do you
I don't remember. I just remember that 1-0 game. I hit the ball at the clock.
Yeah.
But we always, we had this rivalry against the Cardinals because they hated Keith when we came to St. Louis, and we didn't like that because Keith was a part of us. So we took it personal. I think a lot of the Cardinal players took it personal too, that they, got rid of him and they were glad. And Whitey Herzog was the manager, and he let Keith go, and he sent him over to us, but he didn't realize what he was doing. He did us the biggest favor he could ever had done.
Yeah.
Like sending us Keith, because guess what? He sent us a guy that Keith is the best player I ever played with, the most intense player. He had more knowledge than anybody.
I mean, the best first baseman I've ever seen play.
He had more knowledge than anybody in baseball that I've ever seen.
And he still does. When you listen to him call the game,
he knows what he's talking about.
That's why they're the best. They're the best crew.
Because he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
Because why does he know what he's talking about? Because he did it.
And he's not a homer. He tells you when the Mets are disgusting to watch. He says this is disgusting to watch. How disappointing he is. 86 starts, and it's like a movie, man. To me, it's like a movie. It's like this past Knicks season is a movie that I'll never forget.
But it didn't start off well.
No, but
it started off in spring training. Mookie got hurt.
There was a momentum that built that year.
From 85 to 86.
Yeah, there was a momentum that we, as Met fans, felt like something.
Okay, the fans, they felt that there's something coming.
Coming.
But we were all like heartbroken because Mookie got hurt in spring training.
How much time did he miss? 86.
He missed, I guess, the beginning of the season because we were doing drills, and there was a rundown drill, and he got hit in the eye. He was trying some glasses. He got hit in the eye, and we were just like, you could see us all
deflated,
just all around him, because we all knew that he was a part of what we were because he had been there the whole time, and Mookie's one of the best, one of the best guys that you could have as a teammate. So we felt that inside of ourselves, and Kid Carter was the first one to go grab him and tell him, Mookie, stay down. They wouldn't let him get up. And he's like, oh, God, Mookie could see the glasses were shattered and everything. And just kind of like made us all feel like, okay, we just lost Mookie, so we got to pick up these pieces. And Davey already knew that we were going to dominate because he told us that. We only had one meeting. You probably usually have a bunch of meetings. People got something to say, introducing everybody. Davey said, I don't have a whole lot to say this year in spring training, but that we're gonna win it all and we're gonna dominate. And we thought, okay, now all of a sudden, there it is. He put it out there for everybody.
Did he say it in front of the press or just to you guys?
Just to us.
Yeah.
And I guess it got to the press what the meeting was all about, and they said, well, Davey said they're gonna win it all, they're gonna dominate. So we started like maybe 2-3 or something like that, and we had the welcome home dinner. And Keith got up and at the welcome home dinner and spoke in front of all the people. And he goes, relax to the people because everybody talking about we were going to die. And he says, we're 2-3 right now.
The sky is falling.
Just wait. Just wait. This team is going to be something totally different that you've never seen a team like this before.
Yeah.
And once we took off, it was it. It was over.
You at that point, are you married at that point?
I'm married.
You're married. You have kids?
I got one kid at the time.
You got one kid at that time. Had any of your other family come east? Brother, any siblings or anybody here, or everybody's still on the West Coast?
They were on the West Coast at that time when I was
there.
playing.
Yeah,
my mother was out there because we lived out there because I lived out there in all season.
Where are you living in New York at that time? Where was you?
I was living in Long Island, Port Washington.
Port Washington. All right. You staying out of trouble?
Oh yeah.
You're staying out of trouble.
I like
86.
no. Well, no, no. I like the women. I'm drinking.
Right.
You know, we had a team full of wild heathens
Yeah.
that like to party, like to drink, and like to chase girls. You
Yeah.
know, besides Kid and Mookie. So they like to sit in the front of the plane, front
Yeah,
of the bus.
they were for real. They were clean.
For real.
Yeah, they were real. Yeah, Mookie and Gary were no nonsense, correct?
They were family guys.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else
Young and had money.
had a little bit of just not the fact of even having money. It was having fun. You know, and I think people
Listen, there were doors open. You guys could go anywhere. You were
well, because the city loved us. They embraced us.
You were the kings of the city at that point.
It was because of our fans.
Yeah.
Okay. And players, I think today don't understand the importance of fans. I think they think it's them, they're the brand. But the fans are the brand.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're the ones that make you go. They're the ones that bring the energy to the ballpark. And these players of the day haven't really, truly, they got a taste of it when they was in the National League Championship Series. That was just a small taste.
24 was special.
That was a small taste for, you know, what they don't realize in the times that we're playing in the 80s, from 84 to Davey and Buddy Harrelson, we won 90 games a year.
The Mets owned, people don't realize, the Mets owned the city, man.
The back page.
The Mets owned it. That people think it was always the Yankee city. And the Mets, for those years,
Killed it.
It was a Mets town, man.
Killed it.
Yeah, it was beautiful to be a Met fan.
George hated
it. Especially after being a Met fan in the 70s, man.
Right.
Watching
and
Reggie and Nettles and Chambliss and,
right.
and Munson. It was brutal for a Met
And then watching the early 80 Mets, you know, from that period that they went through.
Yeah.
I know Seaver and all those guys were the Miracle Mets.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they did their thing and coming back and winning and being out of it and just beating that great Baltimore team that they beat.
Yeah, but that was a long stretch in between.
A long stretch in between. And here it is, you bring a team of the 86 that has nothing but serious craziness, you know, swag, character, confidence.
From top to bottom, it was it was
at
attitude.
It was at a whole different level.
Wally,
because it wasn't
Lenny.
just about Wally and Lenny was great. You know, every time you look up, you got first or third. You know, those are easy RBIs.
Yeah.
You know, if you play baseball, you know that. But what people don't understand about us is our brotherhood and our bond was real. Because you didn't want to get in that space with us,
Mm-hmm.
and you didn't want to push our buttons. You know, and a lot of teams tried us, but we put these knuckles on them. And when they saw that we was going to put these knuckles on them, not just the guy that was charging them out, they saw everybody coming after you. It's like this is a whole different group of guys.
Ray Knight.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just. I mean, if you got one of us and he couldn't get to you, all the rest of them was going to get you.
Somebody's coming.
Yeah, and every team started to recognize that around the league. And everywhere we went, they were extremely careful. Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you. You know, it's because they knew that we didn't play.
Yeah.
And we was gonna really be not just we wasn't gonna just beat you with the bat, and you know our pitching. We was gonna body slam you. You know, we had Kevin Mitchell who would body slam somebody in the heartbeat and put him in a chokehold, and he wouldn't let go.
No, I believe it.
You know, and you had me. I was just on the other opposite side. You hit me, I'm coming to get you. You know, Ray Knight, you hit him, he's coming to get you. You had guys like Keith and Ronnie and all those guys. When they came off the bench, if I couldn't get you, if Ray couldn't get you, they were going to get you.
Get it.
Yeah, so that was very special to be able to have that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I've seen it so many times. After Game 6 and the Buckner play, there was no doubt you were winning Game 7. There was not even a question. And people don't realize you were losing Game 7.
We're losing it.
You were losing in Game 7. I don't think anybody thought there was ever a chance you were going to lose. There was no shot you were losing Game 7.
Well, that's because the fans knew us.
Yeah, what you had done all year.
If you look at how many games we came back that year, and people need to go do their homework on that after the 7th inning, and they realize how many games that this team had always came back from.
Yeah.
they would be like, wow, no wonder they won.
There was no doubt.
Yeah, it's like they had no quit in them.
Yeah, it was
You know,
no question. 86 you win. I mean, we could spend an hour and a half on this, just that, but the next year with that fucking Dodgers series,
that's
right?
88.
Oh, it's 88 is the Dodger series.
Next year to 87, we lose our whole pitching staff.
Oh, injury.
Right.
Riddled, 87. 88, the Dodger series.
Dodger series broke our heart.
Socha.
I
mean, yeah.
Shelby walks, Socha hits a home run.
The team doesn't, we think as Met fans, this team's going to run off 3 or 4 World Series and doesn't live up to expectation. At what point do you start to see ownership saying, maybe we got to start?
Well, we didn't have the same kind of players from 86 to 88.
Right.
We had a different breed of players. Okay, and what I mean by that, they were more talented players, but they didn't have that.
The killer instinct.
They didn't have the killer.
Yeah.
They didn't know. They got comfortable with not knowing how to kill. Those teams that I played on from the beginning, 85, 86, and even 87, when we lost our rotation, we still knew how to kill people.
Yeah.
We got to 88, we were great, multi-talented, but when it came down to finishing it in that series against the Dodgers, we just didn't have that. We know we can come back.
Yeah.
And we had to play Game 7 against the Dodgers in Dodger Stadium. And Ronnie pitched, and we were down 4-5-0 in the first inning. And if we were down 4-5-0 in the first inning on 86 team, we're coming back and win. But I could just see, I could feel the dugout. I could see the guys. I could look in the eyes of some guys, and they were like done. That was never like that before with the guys that I came up with and played with. We were like, this game is not over. And we didn't have that in 88. And that's how we ended up losing that series against the Dodgers. Because we killed the Dodgers during the regular season.
Yeah, dominated.
We dominated them. And like I said, because the team was multi-talented and younger players, and they came in. But if you don't know how to finish, and you never been in that place of finishing before, I had already been there. And some of the other guys had already been there. But a lot of guys hadn't been there before, and they didn't know how to finish.
You find out the Mets aren't going to bring you back. Are you heartbroken? Did you really, was New York, did you feel like New York was your home at that point?
New York has always been home.
Yeah. So you go back to LA. I want to fast forward past LA. Had you had a relationship with George Steinbrenner?
I never had a personal relationship, but I had a relationship from a distance of him looking.
He had an affinity for you, for sure.
Well, because I played over in Queens.
He watched you.
He watched us in spring training.
Yeah, you and Doc.
Because
he wanted you both.
Because we used to go play them in Fort Lauderdale, and he used to sit up in his box, and it was a person by the name of Ray Negron.
Of course, Ray's still there.
That was around George forever. And he said, George always asked him, why didn't I be able to get guys like Strawberry and Gooden? How did we miss those type of players? And I just think he had something inside of him that he saw in us was special, was a determination. And I think he wanted that.
Yeah.
And he didn't get us, but he would get us later because of that determination of who we were and the fact that he knew that we already played in New York.
Did the league think you were done when the year you went to the Yankees?
Not the league. Well, no team wanted to give me a chance.
There was nobody.
Nobody.
Only George.
Only George.
He was the only one who offered you a spot.
Only George.
I mean,
well, the media tried to get George, like, he's done. His career's over. He's a loser. This and that. George goes to Ray, I want him. And I want you to take care of him. I want Doc.
Yeah.
And I want you to take care of him. Yeah. And that was Ray Negron's assignment, from George. It's get me those guys. And he had to navigate himself around people that didn't want us there. The Bob Watsons and whoever else was, like, no, we don't think it's a good fit for what we are. And I would have to say, I'm so grateful because I sat down with Mr. Torrey not too long ago and had a conversation with him about coming over and and what he talked about was there was a lot of opinions about me, but he didn't go by that. He went by his own opinions
Yeah.
of what he saw, and he was another guy that I have the utmost respect for because he was a player. And if you've never been a player and you're just sitting in the front office, you don't know what players go through. Just because you get a paycheck, you think, well, they should be able to go out there and perform. We don't know how hard it is, but these guys knew how hard it was to be able to do that. Joe Torre knew that. Davey Johnson knew that. So I had a tremendous amount of respect for him, and I told him that I was grateful for the fact that you saw me the way you wanted to see me, not the way anybody was trying to tell you.
Yeah, and then think about it from the Met fan watching you guys there. I mean, you win 3 there, right?
Won 3 championships there.
Doc won 2.
He won 1.
Oh, Doc won 1.
96.
You win 3, man.
Won
I
3 with
mean,
him.
what a blessing for you. I
It
mean,
was incredible. I mean, but the incredible part about that was the guys I played with.
yeah,
They were just like the guys I played with on the 86.
killers.
Yeah, they were killers.
They weren't going to lose.
We
Paul O'Neill, these dudes were not going to lose, man.
they knew how to win.
Yeah, as a Met fan, I can say they were not they were such a the Yankees were a likable. There was no punks on the team. There was nobody. These were all business, man. You watch Tino, Mariano. These dudes were all business. They were the guys we all wanted on. Like the 86 Mets, everybody else wanted to go.
But the 86 Mets were gangsters.
Yes. But everybody wanted you on their team.
Everybody wanted us on the team.
Yeah, we
but
want guys like that. We all wanted guys like that 90s Yankees was.
Yeah, the 90, 96, 98, 99 Yankees were incredible.
Yeah, but you were gone by 2000.
2000 was gone, yeah.
You were gone. So they play the Mets into. I mean, that would have been some shit in
I know.
2000 if you.
Well, Jeter was like the real deal, more than anything. He's never said a bad word about anybody.
Yeah,
And
I feel like when I watch Brunson play, he's got a lot of that Jeter.
Never say anything negative.
No.
Just people say negative things about them.
Come out and play.
Just go out and play.
Yeah.
Heart and soul of your team, and that's what Jeter was like. That's what we had in the 80s with the Mets. If we had the opportunity to have wild card like they do now, we'd have won more championships.
You would have been involved.
We'd have dominated more because we won 90 games a year.
Yeah.
You don't win 90 games a year and not get in the playoffs. All we had to do is get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And when we got in the playoffs, we had the rotation, we had the players. You have to have that to be able to win.
You leave baseball. You start to lose your way a little bit. You start to get in some trouble. Like what's the year or 2 years after baseball look like for you?
I was just completely broken, this emptiness.
Because that was your whole existence.
Well, that's everybody whole
Yeah.
existing when they play sports and you take the uniform off and you have to identify yourself without the uniform on. So I had to reinvent myself.
Right.
And what do I mean by that? I had to become a man, not an athlete anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of athletes don't cross over.
They stay stuck, man.
I think they stay stuck with the number, the uniform, and this is what I used to do. So I didn't. I reinvented myself and became a different person.
You end up in prison in Tampa. What year is that?
I ended up in prison. I can't remember what year. Early 2002, 3.
Right. How long do you stay?
Because of addiction.
How long are you away?
I did 11 months on the 18-month sentence. It was one of the greatest gifts God ever gave to me was to lock me up because I would have been dead. Because I was in the midst of addiction. I had cancer.
What put you there? How'd you end up there?
Well, because I kept violating probation. And they kept wanting to send me, Pam Bondi, who prosecuted me, she kept wanting to send me to prison. And the judge said, he's not a criminal. He has a drug problem. She said, I'm not going to send him to prison because he don't deserve to be in prison.
Right.
He deserved to be in treatment and get help.
You kept going to treatment?
And I went to treatment and stayed in another treatment program and almost 18 months and violated and went back to jail, went back in front of the judge. And she goes, I want to lock him up. The judge says, no, I'm not going to do that. I want to give him, she says, well, I want to give him 5 years probation and another, 12 months in treatment. And I basically told him screwed himself. I didn't tell the judge that, but I was telling. She got off the bench because she got sick, and another judge got in front of me, and I told my attorney, um, I said, tell him to screw himself. I want to take the 18 months. How much? I said, how much time I'm gonna do on 18 months? He said 11 months. I said, will I be off paper? He said, yes. I says, give me the 18 months. I'll do the 11 months in prison. And I was done with paper because they wanted to put me on 5 more
Yeah,
years
yeah,
of
yeah.
probation. There's no plan because you violate that probation, you're gonna get those 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I just did
You
11.
knew there was no way.
I know
Yeah,
way I
yeah,
was.
yeah.
I wasn't even close to being in the direction where there was enough discipline that I wasn't going to pick up
Yeah,
drugs again
behave
and
yourself for
use.
that long
Yeah,
a period of time.
I just wasn't there.
Were you finding was drugs finding its way to you when you were locked up? Were you
No, I wasn't. I didn't use drugs when I was locked
you
up.
stayed clean and
I stayed clean
yeah.
when I was there. I didn't get involved in anything.
People testing you? Darryl
A few,
Strawberry,
a few tried. When I was on the basketball
yeah.
court
You were good with your hands though.
playing pickup ball. A few guys, said a few things, and I was like, "Here I am, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go."
Yeah, you weren't just a baseball player.
But a lot of other guys would push me back and say, "No, you don't do that. You don't deserve to get into the mess with them and get yourself in a hole behind foolishness in here." So I had a lot of guys that I was really cool with in there too. So at the same time,
you come out.
I come out.
Do you start using again?
Start using again. I pick up again.
Got it.
And go on a run. And
if you don't mind me asking, because I followed you my whole life, but I follow you now. Your social media to me is very inspiring, man. Your message daily, I find helpful to me in a multitude of ways. But where is God present in? Are you a church going kid? Was church
my mother?
But were you?
I wasn't.
You didn't feel a connection.
Well, I didn't know.
Yeah.
But I knew. I saw my mother living it.
Were you attending? So you're in jail. Would you go to service on Sunday?
I would go to chapel.
Yeah.
And it hadn't all the way resonated with me.
Got it.
But I knew my mother was a woman of faith. I saw her live it. She lived it right in front of her.
Did you feel as blessed as you were, the athlete that you were, as successful as you were, did you feel like it was you knew there was something going on, or you didn't even, it was not, because I hear you talk now, and it's every ounce of every word that you speak. There's a purpose behind it.
Well, I knew it was a greater calling on my life.
Got it.
And I got that from Gary Carter. When I got into the fight on picture day with Keith, because he had said something to the press about my contract negotiation, and I shouldn't be negotiating a contract, and the press came back and told me. So
that was your last picture day on your last year with the Mets, correct?
No, it was before. It was like 88 maybe.
Okay.
So I went after him, and because the media came back and said it was him that said it, and I went after him. He was drawing on the other side, and I was like to myself, dude, I'm from South Central. You just have no idea. When somebody's talking about somebody else, it's like, let's throw down. And I love Keith. He's always been special to me.
Right.
And we made up, and he apologized. The fact, he was like, I was wrong, for saying anything. It was none of my business. And somewhere along that time in spring training, Gary Carter comes to me, and nobody's around, and he comes to me and says, Straw, I just need to talk to you for a minute. And he says, I need to let you know that your life is not going to be about baseball and a contract and money. You're going to make that, but that's not going to be your life. He says, you have a greater calling upon your life from God. I thought to myself, he must be crazy. Doesn't he know how wild I am? He goes, I know your heart, and God's looking at your heart. Your heart is good. And he says, you're going to be used in such a different way, you're not going to even be able to comprehend it. And I took that from him, and I thought to myself, after he walked away, like I said, this
Dude, it's
is
crazy.
yeah, this is never gonna come to pass. So that's what I had to experience, and it came to pass. It came to pass exactly what he told me. Came to pass exactly what my mother said to me. And I would come into this place, and Tracy would come into my life when I'm lost in addiction.
Yeah. Who's your current Tracy's
Was
your,
my
for
wife
people that know
now.
is your wife now?
Yeah, we've been married 19 years, and she would come and she would lead me back into church after a
When
long
you two
journey.
found each other, you found you were in treatment.
No, we weren't in treatment. We were at a Narcotics Anonymous
Oh, at a
convention.
got
A
it.
convention.
An NA.
Yes.
Yeah, convention.
Yes.
She had been clean for a while,
She had been clean for a year.
and you were clean for a minute.
5 seconds.
Yeah, you
I was just
you were
coming
in
back.
it.
I come back from 5 days of smoking crack, lost,
Right.
and
Had you battled depression? Like, not now you're not playing ball anymore. Had you battled depression at all? That is it. Was that in your personality? Did you get
I
to
didn't have the depression
right?
personality. I just had nobody's going to control me anymore because of my father.
Got it.
So I'm going to do whatever I want to do. And I think that's why I was able to, get past a lot of things.
Where was where was that meeting? What state? Where were you?
We're in South Florida.
South Florida.
Yeah.
And you just happened to meet each other at the meeting?
Well, she thought it was a freak show. Everybody wanted to take a picture with me because I was Darryl Strawberry. And she thought, the guy's, look at him, he's sick.
Yeah.
He needs help. He's not here because of his baseball career. He's here because of all the rest of us. And she didn't want to have nothing to do with it. And her friend told her, why don't you just stick around and say hello to him? And I said hello to her, and she never talked about anything my baseball career. She never wanted a picture. And I thought, man, this must be the sign for God.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
different.
very unique. This is very different. She talked to me. She sat and talked to me and says, how you doing? And I says, I'm very sick. She says, I know. Well, we all are. That's why we're all here.
Right.
And she started talking to me about, how you're going to have to make a change, and you're going to have to become a different person, and you're going to have to do something different.
Was she the pathway back to the church?
She was
for
the
you?
one that led me back to the church. But
Yeah.
she was the one that made me realize more than anything is, when are you going to take off that uniform? I've never heard anyone tell me that. And that
When are you going to start being just
changed me.
Darryl Strawberry, not Darryl Strawberry?
That
the
changed
player?
me. That changed me inside, because everybody was looking at me for Darryl Strawberry, Major League Baseball
Yeah.
player. And she said, you need to take that uniform off. And I thought to myself, I've never heard that before.
Yeah. What did that? You're thinking to yourself, what does that really?
What does that really
What does
mean?
that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I started searching. I didn't take it off just yet. And I took her. I said, well, you don't really want to get involved in me because I go through people like a tornado.
Yeah, you're warning her. This
Yeah.
ain't good. I've seen this movie before. It does not end well for you,
and
young
she-
lady. Young lady, this is not going to end well.
But she said I forgot to tell her the details. I couldn't tell you the details,
Yeah.
but I was just kind of giving her a warning about, my behavior. And I had to go through this long journey in my addiction with her, trying to rescue, save me, pulling me out of dope houses, coming, banging on doors.
After the two of you meet, how long till you're clean?
Well,
And you
it took a while. She's got 25, so I got 22. So it took about 3 years.
But she stuck it out.
She never went back.
She stayed,
She didn't stay with me. We broke up,
right?
and I went on my journey. And I went back to California with my sister Regina and stayed with her and her 3 kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. And I surrendered my life to Christ. And I surrendered. I stopped drugs. I stopped sex. I stopped cigarettes. I stopped drinking. And I stopped everything for 6 months. And I went back to church and started helping. And God said, I need you to get out of yourself. I need you to go start going to the church on Thursday, helping them pack bags for the homeless. I need you to go downtown with the church people and feed the homeless food. And I started doing things like that. And I started to see myself, for the grace of God, they go, that could be me. Just because we have achieved all these things, we never experienced that low of low. But it can happen with a person with an addiction problem.
Mm-hmm.
And then me and Tracy started talking after 6 months, and she heard something totally different inside of me because I was studying the Bible and I was all by myself, and she started to hear me talk a different way, and we started. I went to St. Louis to meet her and have conversations with her, and she goes, "Oh my God, you're like so different now," and and she thought because she always loved me and cared for me, and she said, "This is the kind of person that I always believed that you had inside of you," and then I went back and we got married and we did it right, and then we went on the journey together, and then she led me back all the way into church. And what people don't realize, it just didn't happen overnight. I sat for 7 years going through discipleship. And what I mean by discipleship is learning the Bible, being in church and going through this process. And so God can really transform me and change me, not from the outside, but from the inside, because of the wounds that were inside were never healed. And I needed to experience the healing power of God to help me get through the process of why I constantly use. This is why people constantly use because they hurt and they're in pain
Yeah.
and they don't deal with it. So they constantly stuff that down inside them to try to make them feel better. And it only makes you feel better for that moment, but it's still there. And so I stopped all that and I went through this whole journey and 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 life started to move in a different direction for us as a couple more than anything.
Early on, you knew this was your purpose for the rest of your time here on the planet. You knew,
Once I got there,
yeah,
it
this is.
took time. It took time to get there. And the thing about faith is God doesn't force anybody.
Mm-hmm.
It's an action where you go after Him, and that's when I started to go after Him, and I started to let other things off. A lot of guys that I play with, they were like, "Oh, he'll be back." When they heard I was like going on this journey, and I was going, "Oh, he's not really living right. Oh, he's still chasing girls. He's still drinking. He's still doing all this stuff." So I stayed away from all of that. Didn't come around baseball for a long time, and I had to get a foundation inside of me like I did in baseball. God said, "I want you to go. I want you to come after me like you came after baseball. You were good in baseball. You were disciplined in baseball. So I had to discipline my life in that. So that means I had to separate myself. Not that I'm consider myself better than anybody else. Is I made a better decision for myself, and it started to make me a better man. And in the end, that's what we really all want to be at the end of the day. Anybody that's suffered from rejection and
Mm-hmm.
pain, um, it stays with you until you get rid of it. And it wasn't until I finally got rid of all of that stuff and I started to move forward. And now I started to become a man of God, a husband, and a father.
Yeah, I only recently in the past few years I started to feel um daily that this was not my life was not happening by accident, and things were happening when I led with when I was in service of people and I put other people before myself and I was making decisions for everybody around me. It resulted in beautiful things for all of us. And when I led with my ego and
Hmm.
I led with, you know, it never ended well, man. It
The
never ended well.
macho,
Yeah, and I had the hole, man. I had that hole you know, when a boy's father leaves at 5, you think it doesn't leave
a
a
thank you.
you think it doesn't leave a hole, man. You
Yeah.
think, "Oh, I'm fine. Me and my mom are fine." And I was damaged goods, man. My whole life I was trying to figure out
Who
what
the heck am I?
yeah, why did where
What did I do?
why would this guy leave at 5? And then I had kids and I went, I couldn't imagine leaving my 5 like I would see my 5-year-old daughter and I go, "How did this dude just leave, man?" And once I forgave him,
Right.
once I said to myself, I forgive this guy. He was a lot. Like I appreciate him leaving. He did me a favor, and I was able to just let go of it,
You had
man.
to release it.
I let it go, and you don't realize how the hole gets filled, and all this other beautiful stuff starts to show up, man.
Right.
So all this other stuff starts to show up, and things started to happen in my life where, listen, I'm sitting here with Darryl Strawberry, man, and we're having a conversation for however many minutes. I there's a moment in my life. I went to the first game you came back and played with the Dodgers. I went to the game at Shea. Your first game back at Shea.
Frankie V.
And I remember cheering for you, and the whole section behind me
Was all over
telling
you.
me to sit my ass down. They were telling me to sit my ass down. I was so happy to see you back. Um, Years later now, I get to sit with Doc, have a conversation. I'm sitting with you, if I'm if I want to be naive enough or arrogant enough to think I'm responsible for this, that I'm making all this happen. I mean, I guess I could think that, but
Well, you have the wrong outlook about it.
of course, I believe um before you got here, me and Jacob, who works with me on this show, had a conversation. How funny God's plan for us. He said, the amazing things that are happening in my life, and the smallest thing, just that you thank God for it.
Hmm.
When it happens, it keeps good things keep happening.
They keep going.
When you thank when it happens and you thank God for it,
Well, when you become grateful,
yeah.
that's that's the whole
Do you
part.
think that comes with the age too? I'm 58.
Well, it comes with everything we've been through,
Yeah.
and you start to see life a different way because you start to see people that were before you dying, and your time is coming too.
Mm-hmm.
The clock is ticking. So we can't sit here and make ourselves believe it's all about us because death is knocking at your door. I
Yeah.
don't care how much success you have. I don't care how much money you have in the bank. I don't care what you think. You cannot escape it.
Yeah, it's coming.
It's coming. And are you ready? Because most people that have success, they don't think about death. All they think about is the right now
Mm-hmm.
and who I am. I look beyond that. I look past the fact that um, baseball was great. I did something I wanted to do, but I allowed God to crush my ego because every man walks around with an ego and self-centeredness about himself, and the ego is a three-letter word: easing God out. That means that I'm playing God and I'm bigger than God and I'm going to control how everything is going to go. Now, what's going to happen when a terminal illness falls upon you? What are you going to do then? You're not going to be able to pay for a doctor to heal you. You're not going to be able to
Yeah.
pay for the medicine that can heal you. It's the end,
Yeah, they said the most humbling piece of clothing you could put on is a hospital gown.
right? When that time comes,
Nothing will humble you more than
and
a
it's come
hospital gown.
and it's coming for every last one of
Yeah.
us. Yeah, and I think a lot of times
How is your health right now?
my health is in
You're
tremendous
good.
shape. I've been
Because
through.
you had your ass kicked the past couple of
Well,
years.
I
And
had yes,
yeah.
and I love it.
Yeah.
And I made agreement with God. When I had the heart attack 2 years ago, I made agreement with God when I was rolling in to have surgery. I said, God, you can take me right now. I win. I don't lose because you have positioned me not to lose.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but if you really want to leave me here, they retire my number next year. And I would like to be there at that. So he granted me that. And those are the little things that you learn to be thankful for. Because my heart was at 40%. I'm not supposed to be alive. Most people heart they get to 40%, the doctor said is dead.
Did you start to not feel what made you go? You went to get checked out. You weren't feeling well,
Now I was on the road for 5 days with my son Jordan,
right?
traveling, preaching, and speaking all over the place.
Started to have chest
I
pains.
still had pains, and I was coming through the airport in Atlanta. I almost fainted on the floor. Jordan was on his other flight. I called him. I said, I'm just gonna catch the next flight. I'm going up to the club and rest. And I called my wife. I told her I don't feel good. I was sweating, and I said I was just out of it. And she called Jordan. He was already there. She said, you make sure you check on your dad and go to his room and get him food, whatever he needs, because he called me and he wasn't feeling well. And I spoke that night, and I didn't feel good that night. The next night I spoke, and Jordan drove us to Indianapolis, and I called a flight and went to New York, and I spent a Sunday there, and I headed back home, and wasn't feeling well. Got home Monday. Me and my wife went out and had lunch, and she said, "That's it. I had chest pains," and she just like, "You're getting in the car." And she took me to the emergency room, and she was driving like crazy trying to get me in. I was like, "Hold up, hon, I'm all right." She, "No, I got to get you there." And I get there, and they lay me on the table, and they said, "Mr. Strawberry, you are in trouble." I says, "Okay." I'm at peace, because my life has been changed,
Right, right.
so I don't have this thing over my head anymore of
Peop-
being worried. And they goes, "No, you are in trouble. We have to do surgery tonight on your heart." And I was like, "Okay." And my wife called our pastor, Pastor Jesse. He came over and he prayed for me. And I felt the peace of God to come over me, and I was just like, "Okay, whatever's going to happen at this point, I'm good." And whichever way you want it, because at the end of the day, he has the last say. I don't have the last say. You don't have the last say.
mhm.
Nobody else. We can all talk there. I don't believe that. But when it comes to that, when you're in that position, you'll realize you don't have the last say. And I went through that whole process, and I came out of surgery, and the doctor saw me the next day, and he says, "Man, you were in heart attack mode for about 5 days." He says, "I don't know how you're alive." I said, "Well, I know somebody." And he said, "Huh?" And I said, "Just know I know
Yeah, I
somebody."
got connections.
And he said to me, he goes, "Man, you're a big deal. I didn't know you were a big deal." He says, "You're all over the news." I was like, "Really?" I said, "No, I'm not a big deal. I'm just a guy that plays sports that once upon a time." He goes, "No, it's all over the news everywhere that you're in the hospital here. And everybody's been blowing up the phone reporters and people trying to reach and call, and we just couldn't give them that information." So, and and then my wife went through her health problems right after me, and we both was like going through this process. But we have faith when our faith is our foundation, and we learn to stand on that and walk through that and deal with it. And no one gets away without going through the storms of life. And when you realize that, you realize who you are. You realize that you have come a long way from where you used to be, and you no longer have to be worried about where I'm going after I leave here. I don't have a worry. A lot of people have this concern about where am I going after I leave here. And God is pretty much looking at what have you done
While you're here.
while you're here.
Yeah.
Have you tooted your own horn and
Mhm.
and and made it about you, or have you decided to look at yourself and be grateful and treat others in a different way? And that's why I do what I do. That's why my new book is coming out, Another Life. It's about I have another life to go back to love other people and give what I've been through,
Mhm.
and that's all it is. It's an expression to show people that you can overcome. You don't have to be a victim. You don't have to be what you have come through and what was in your household. Your father leaving, my father leaving, and growing up and having to go through the struggles and the battles of that. You do not have to stay there. And that's the message that I try to bring to people is get up, get in the game, and finish it.
I was having some trouble at night. I'm a small business owner, family man, kids. You worry about your kids. I was having trouble at night. We would go to bed, me and my wife would go to bed, and we have these decorative pillows on the bed. I would start to take the pillows off the bed and get ready to get in bed. And at that moment, when I let my guard down, all the negative thoughts from my day would creep in that little 12, 15 seconds. And when I laid my head on the pillow, I couldn't fight it off. All this anxiety would come.
Right.
And I went to listen to this guy talk, David Meltzer, and he told me his life changed. His entire life changed when he decided the first thing he would do when he woke up and the last thing he would do before bed, it was he would thank God that I woke up And then at night, he would thank God for all the things that happened through the day. And he told me, right before you go to sleep, chronologically through your day, be grateful for the bacon, egg, and cheese, the movie you watched with your family, the
Everything.
small, and run down the list. And he said, when you lay your head on that pillow,
Thank you.
there's no room for anxiety.
No.
You're filled with gratitude. Darryl, I swear to you, it works every single time, man.
It's always been there.
It works when the last thing is gratitude in my mind for everything that happened in my day and I lay down, it is no room for the anxiety, man. When I don't have the gratitude and I'm in my own head and I lay down,
right.
It gets me every time.
Because we don't do it out of boasting or bragging.
Yeah.
We do it because we're grateful.
For real, though.
For real. You have to be for real about it.
Yeah. That's when it works.
That's when it works. 'Cause most people want it to work, but they're not grateful for it.
Yeah.
They're looking for the opportunity to have something, to get something. He's going to give it to you when he knows your heart.
Yeah, it works every time.
He's never going to change. He created every last one of us. We are his seed, every last one of us, because the seed that he created from our parents is his. So he knows everything about every last one of us, and he knows your heart.
So your book comes out for anybody who's watching. Once this will be airing, your book will be out. The book is called what again?
Another Life.
Another Life. And that is that there's no baseball in this book?
There's baseball in there.
Yeah. So it starts.
Baseball is always going to be a part of my platform.
Right.
Because that's the platform that God had given me. But Another Life is about people. It's about going into a community where people have young kids struggling with addiction. And I'm going into places like this and telling the kids, it's a dead end. It's a dark road. Because I saw so many kids lose their life from the age of 18 to 25 when I had 2 treatment centers down in Florida, all addicted to opiates and heroin and ODing and dying. And me and my wife, we were heartbroken to see it. And we tried to make the kids understand you can live, but you got to live a different way. You can't live off of these because they're going to kill you. Because nobody thinks you're going to die because if I take them, it's part of escaping. There's no return because they made them so powerful where it's just the end of you. And then I go into maximum security prisons, not to try to change inmates, but to love them. I love going in there and I love hugging guys. And I love them to feel the hug that they never got from a father. They're broken because of what happened to them. No one signs up to be a mass murderer or killer or invasion of a home and kill everybody.
Yeah, they were a little kid at one point that somebody some damage was done.
Some tremendous damage has been done.
They were a little kid
on the inside, and the stories I hear, and I go on, and I took my wife in, and took my writer Jerome in, and it's in the book, and I took them to death row so they can see what death row is and inmates that are going to be executed. They have done some heinous crimes, and that's the only place for them to be. It's part of what we live in, and it's real, and they have to pay a price. I say it all the time to people, you can pick your sins, but you cannot pick your consequences. And the reality of them, they will come at some point. And I had a lot of consequences, and I'm grateful for that because it made me grow up and made me become a better person.
Yeah, say that one again, man. So I got that.
I say you can pick your sins, but you cannot pick the consequences.
Wow, yes, sir. Yes, sir. That just resonated. You cannot pick the consequences. So going forward, what's the future for Darryl Strawberry? What do you see for yourself? How do you just continue on this path? You're going to be in service.
Well, I just continue to grow as an evangelist and travel, and I don't.
People are seeking you out at this point.
People are seeking me out.
They want you to come speak.
People seek me out through my ministry, through my niece Michelle, through my son Jordan.
Yeah.
I don't seek after people. I don't have to at this point. Because God has given me a tremendous platform to speak life and truth to people. And I think people in this culture really want to know, what's my purpose? Here there's a guy I saw play baseball, and I saw him fall through the crack. And now look at him. He's got this tremendous platform and this education.
Yeah.
And I got the education from God. God is the one that give you the education. We look for it everywhere else. We look for it in all these worldly things. We think all these other people affirmations are important. They're not more important than his affirmation that he has for you, because what he has for you is holy. And it's going to penetrate the person. I can't penetrate you, but what he brings through me, it will penetrate you and it will help you, because he did it for me. He did it for many more before me, and he's going to always do it that way. That's just the way it works.
I end every episode the same way, Darryl. The podcast is called The Day I Almost Quit, and it's for people who are going through some stuff, and they get to see somebody who was, I mean, you've lived 12 lives in your one lifetime. I ask everybody, everybody in a lot of these podcasts, they say, what's the 5-year plan? What's your 12-month plan? What's your two? For people who are really in it, and financially they're going through a divorce, somebody's strung out, a kid is addicted, they need a 1-day plan, man. They don't even think they could get to tomorrow. For you, when you're having a day, when you are going through it, what's Darryl Strawberry, a 1-day plan? What always worked for you? Something you went in the toolbox. How did you just get to the next day?
Just get up.
Move.
Most people don't get up.
Yeah.
They lay there.
Fetal position.
They stay paralyzed. The day I almost quit.
Yeah.
That's really powerful, and people need to know you don't quit.
Mm-hmm.
You get up. You don't know the miracle that is waiting for you if you quit.
I mean, there should be nothing coming after that, man. That is the perfect way to end this episode. Darryl, my man,
Got it.
I appreciate you, brother. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. The fact that I got to end up sit here with you is that's a sign enough for me today. And when I stand next to my bed tonight and I list all the things I am grateful for today, I am grateful for you today, my friend. And I will
Well, I feel the same. I'm grateful for you. It's the miracle of people helping people, and people coming together because of their kindness, and that's what it has always been for you, and meeting
Yeah.
you, and the work that you were doing with the cakes and stuff like
Yeah,
that,
man.
and that makes people happy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've ended up in some rooms with some people, I sit and I look around and I go, when I first got involved in the Mets, I'm in a room, you're there, Piazza's there, Franco's there. We're all sitting around. I'm thinking, they're gonna come get me, man. Somebody's gonna come pull me out of this room. But I'm starting to realize, if I'm in service of people and I lead with gratitude, the doors will keep opening for me. If I can ever be of service to you,
Well, you already have.
Darryl.
You already have the things that you have done and created
Yeah.
about different people and their career, sports, and whatever. That makes people happy.
Yeah.
When they get to see that, they look at themselves and say, "That's a beautiful cake of me."
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. If I could do a cake for you in the future, I would love to do another one for you. But if I could be of service in any way, if you are in need of anything you think I could fill a void, I will be
Well, you
there.
have been good service of having me on your show today and delivering this message.
Yeah, man.
And just being open and honest about your own personal journey.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't be open and honest about their personal journey. They think it's just one-sided.
Yeah.
But it's really not. Because we all are just human beings and we all go through something.
Yeah, man. But Dal, I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for coming down. I hope everybody enjoys this episode, gets as much as I got out of it. But I appreciate you, brother.
Well, I hope so too. I appreciate you too, brother. Thanks for having me.